Future's hype. Oh my god, pumping.
Bruh.
Hey, traders. Happy Sunday to you. Just to hang out, a weekend hangout, but the markets are coming back, man. Hold on, what's going on, dude?
Is that a joint?
Hope everyone is having an awesome Sunday.
Crypto Steve 420, thanks for the 420. Is that a joint contribution? Yeah, having a great Sunday, man. Just checking on the futures that just opened 7 minutes ago that just blew up to the upside. Very good for anyone's retirement accounts, right? But we'll see how it goes, right? The best laid plans of mice and men go awry on the futures market. Thanks for that, dude. Good to see y'all. But yeah, I mean, we're talking the S&P 500 that is, the futures in the top left of your screen, up 1.23%. Dow Jones top right of your screen, up 1.19%. And the bottom left of your screen is crude futures, which gapped down, kind of expected, down 8.54% when President Trump's tweet last week indicated that there might be some sort of deal going to be struck between OPEC and Russia. It turns out that's getting delayed, and it's being priced in, right? Boom, destroyed. I mean, you're almost down 9% now. You got VIX futures down 2.81%, just dumping hard, inverse correlating to the run-up. So if this was like any indication of what could be coming for the stock market, that means that we might be on the way, might be working on filling a gap to the upside where, we gapped down last week below a bunch of critical supports for the S&P, Dow Jones, kind of the same thing. So good to see some positive stuff. We've been beaten down so much, but I mean, dude, it's hard to believe that the worst is over for the markets with the economy shutting down, with us getting, the United States now to the next 2 weeks supposed to be the worst of it. The peak, the pinnacle of the morbidity and the just rampant run through the U.S. population as well as Canada. Most places, but we're just talking about the U.S. Crap load of people, 330 plus million people. So if you're curious, the stream's named Bitcoin Live, man. Yeah, we got a weekly candle close in 1 hour and 50 minutes. Where you've just done a bunch of nothing burger all weekend. I mean, you've had some crazy wicks up, scam wicks, and nothing's changed since yesterday in reality of what kind of scenarios we might be in. With, you talk about Wyckoff distribution, still in phase C, the pain for the shorts if it's gonna sell off. But there's always devil's advocates. There's the bullish scenario too. There really is, man. I mean, you could say one thing or another here, and we had a poll on it. Majority of the audience thought we had Wyckoff distribution, but there's the ascending triangle, which is the bullish case, where you have acceleration of demand, you have a sell wall, you failed to break this sell wall a multitude of times, this time up, right, failing, and that is just, that's not what you need to do. I mean, but the weekend, it's understandable, and there could just be absorption going on, but absorption's so difficult because it could be one way or another. It could be the majority of the, more sellers that we can't see are absorbing all the buy orders and the demand. And so eventually that means that we'd sell off, but the buyers could be absorbing the sell orders here. And that's normal. I mean, that's the psychology of the ascending triangle, right? All the supply is getting bought up over and over and over again as you continue to make these higher lows than your previous lows. So this is very possible. I mean, if it played out, 7405, I think, is a target that would be regarded, respected, certainly. If we really did get a real impulse candle breakout, we have not gotten an impulse breakout candle. We thought we were getting one on April 2nd, but that turned out to be a freaking joke, of course. So that'd be 7,400 and then maybe 8,000, because that's the 618. Excuse me, I'm in log scale. Yeah, 618 Fib, just Fib retrace, the golden retrace. So you're just in the dead middle. You've only hit the 50% retrace one time. We're talking like a 50% retrace from your major high to your low. the halfway mark. And so we have reversed there. But to the extent of how much we reversed is not too bad yet. Another key point, I guess, being that, since we've recently run up the month of April, we've hit the 200 moving average for the first time since February 25th on, again, the 4-hour time scale, not the daily. And so, man, you think, oh, it's so weak, you just can't break anything, but you just can't, for the life of you, find a sell-off. You can't find lower lows. It's just you're continuing to make higher lows currently. It's ridiculous, right? So just mysteries abound, man. Just drinking some coffee, man. How do you time the Wyckoff distribution? So really what would happen is if it was to play out, but we don't know, right? Can't be even close to certain on this because of the two cases here. I mean, it's like there's sometimes when you have a specific edge, and then there are other times where you don't have a specific edge. And I think that's kind of where we are. That's why I keep bringing up both scenarios here. But normally what you want to see when you're going into phase D is a big impulse candle down to the middle of the trading range, which is between 57.76 or so, all the way up to 7K, right? You breaking below that is kind of like it's being ushered in that we're going to phase D. When we get down to that area, when we start getting away from the resistance, we can't though. We're not. And that's kind of like, is this really Wyckoff distribution? If you just can't... I mean, eventually something's going to break, man. Something will break. It's either going to be the the horizontal line resistance you can clearly see here, or eventually you'll be getting back down to this upsloping support and you'll break that. You'll be heading back south. Just hasn't happened yet, man, right? And that for the weekend, this is typical price action. You shouldn't be expecting big moves on the weekend, even though we have seen some insane moves. I mean, that was like where the majority of the pump was coming from in the 2019 run. But again, anomaly, and it's like just because it happened then doesn't mean that's how it's going to happen now. And if you look at statistically at all the weekends we've had, most of them, I mean, the high majority of them, 95%, have been nothing burger weekends, right, for Bitcoin. Which is good, because then you got all these gaps on the futures that have to be filled, man. It just kind of complicates things. So yeah, man, wash my hands of Bitcoin right now. Let's come back to futures just for a moment. Sitting sideways after that really nice run up. Again, S&P up 1.19%, Dow Jones up 1.15%. Great. Volatility dumping, and that's a continuation of the story that's been going on this past week and a half, right? The VIX, if you want to look at it, we can. Yes, good old VIX starting to crash, and that's kind of what you want. I mean, fear subsiding for the next 30 days on the S&P 500. It was down 8% on Friday. And broke a key support, if you want to call it that, $48. Look left. I mean, these are areas we've tested before and regarded, right? That's good news, man. 2010, 2011, and you got 2018. All right, you're back below that. Great. Very, very good, man. So if the futures chart tells us anything, we might be gapping down tomorrow, and we could continue crashing, and that's what happens, man. It's supposed to be straight up, straight down. We're on the way straight down. The next target you would think would be around 36.17. Right here, back to December 2018 levels. Right, and then eventually you'd probably find your way to 26 and below. That's where it becomes normal again. So we will see, man. Okay, is anyone even here? Fairy tale? Oh, I don't know, man. Dude, again, like, just because you have a huge run up in the first 5 minutes of trading for futures doesn't mean much of anything, okay? Dude, we have seen the exact opposite happen. I mean, we've seen limit downs where we have tremendous 1,000, 3,000 point days on the Dow, right? We've seen the opposite where we've had we've had limit ups and we've had terrible sell-offs the next day, throughout the trading session. So, just because you got that going on, did you make a higher high than your previous high? Not yet. You can clearly see the high that was before it that has not been broken to the upside, but that might take time if it's going to. But yeah, the economy's shut down right now. We all know that. Reaching seriously the pinnacle of the pandemic in the United States, pretty much North America, coming 2 weeks. So the markets may have priced in that already because everyone knows that or something. But again, it doesn't really look that great on the S&P and Dow Jones, where it's kind of nebulous, where you're below a bunch of critical support resistances. We'll look at it. Let me drink some of this generic coffee. Dude, it's so messed up. I was supposed to get my Irwins yesterday, and USPS sent my package to somewhere in Texas. It's very disheartening, but I'll survive. All right. So we want to look at that SPX. No roulette, no hype in the chat. Yeah, that's how it goes, man. Unless they're able to get me wrecked. We don't have any. Hype in the chat! Yeah, dude. And give me an audio check, too. I'm still in that screwed up limbo of my decibels. It's all off right now. I don't know what I do know what to do, but I just haven't done it yet. I know, Chris. I understand. Audio's good, so you can hear the music too. Oh, dude. I mean, one could imagine what the Bollinger Bands look like on Bitcoin right now. Dude, you don't have to be a genius. You don't even have to have the oscillator or indicator on your screen to know the Bollinger Bands are coiled up, ready to break, dude. We know. Look at the price action. It's ridiculous. It's blah. Audio's okay. Thank y'all. Thank you, Annie. Music's a bit low. Read. Well, it's okay, Winbass, and the song, according to my ears, sounds like crap a little bit, but we're just gonna roll with it. So, S&P, kind of wild. I didn't even notice this. Maybe I was just looking on the 4 hour or something. But that upsloping support back from 2009, right? It seems like you somehow closed the week and the day. Look at this. Above it or at it. Good God. The thing to be a little worried about is that hidden bearish divergence we talked about too many times. It's there. Impending price action, continuation of the downside. But you got to wonder, because we had not this previous trading week, but the week before we had a bullish engulfing candle in the S&P 500 with all this stuff. You got to wonder, are we going to get some follow through price action? The next coming weeks, it's possible. Let me show you real quick. Weekly, this big engulfing candle, and then you just have an indecision red candle where you stayed near the height. Right, you never got close to threatening the previous candle. You got to wonder, will we just get follow through from that? One thing that's interesting is on the 200, on the weekly, the 200 moving average, you're below it. Right, you're still below it. You came up kind of last week and almost touched it like the Jesus men. We're pulling back, selling off, and then rallying to close right at 24.88. This is what I'm talking about. Support resistance. You're below these, and you're kind of below this peak right here, just barely. So you can clearly see there's not too much support resistance. I mean, until you get back down to like 2420, yeah, 2400, and then of course down here, and then below that you've got the August 2016 peak that was regarded as support. So will we get more follow through at all on the engulfing? That's the question, because that's a big statement candle right there from the bulls. I just don't know if we get the follow through. MG, you can't afford Super Chat any longer. I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's okay, but you just tipped in Super Chat, so... My God, man. I don't understand. What just happened? Alright, so, going to the 4 hour real quick. Look, man, it's been relatively quiet across the crypto sphere this weekend. Everything's kind of following Bitcoin. Nothing really sticks out, stands out. They're all kind of just hanging around. All right, so this has just been the thing, right? The idea or the question. It's like, will the S&P rally to fill a gap at 2582? And then will it continue on to test that 382 for real and then go up to a 50% retrace at near 2800? That's the question. So you got to wonder, is the 4 hour hidden bearish divergence that now we have 4 hour hidden bearish divergence on top of daily hidden bearish divergence that is just now maturing? You got to wonder, will that continue to play out where we sell off further? And there are gaps, like there's a gap down at 2240 as well as the gap at 2572. You're closer to this gap. Okay. We can almost just look at the Dow Jones and it's the same freaking analysis, man. Sorry, man. I exercised some more today, so I'm a little, dead. It happens. Futures starting to climb a little bit again. Not much, but anything's in this market, man. Any kind of bullish price action's a win, right? S&P up 1.4%. with the Dow just behind it. The VIX is continuing to dump like crazy, down 3.79%. And you're at pretty much, yes, you're at session lows on volatility. Ooh, it's a good sign, man. That is not a bad thing. We want that volatility index to crash if you want equity prices to go higher. And crude's just hanging out, down 8% plus. And it's only been 24 minutes since open. Goodness. Did the server crash yesterday? I don't know. I was just getting some really unstable kilobytes per second on my stream. It's very rare. It's an anomaly. But here we are. Nothing's changed at all. I didn't reset my internet. Didn't even reset my computer. It's been left on. And here we are with no instability in kilobytes per second. So it's just like S happens. Yeah, volatility's gonna, we say that, but then all of a sudden it's like the volatility we've been seeing last week is very insignificant. Like no volatility compared to the impulse up we got and of course the crash we were getting for 2-3 weeks. So, if this tone is the way it is, tomorrow and the next days, it seems more likely we'd fill a gap around 2,600, right? Versus filling a gap at 2,500. So, and that's okay, man. It is kind of a little peculiar that the S&P didn't even touch at 382, even though it got extremely close, 2651. Again, man, it seems very possible that eventually the S&P could float on, meander on up to 2,800, 50%. So I guess question, hey, should we look at altcoins or something? Sure, we can look at XRP, everyone's favorite darling coin. Sure. Kind of repeating history for the third effing time, only to scam wick before selling off. You would have been safe without the scam wick, technically, I think. And here you are, just on the edge of the abyss. 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5th effing time. That demand line is getting tested over and over and over again. This is not a bullish pattern, man. This is a bearish continuation pattern in this context. It just looks prime for a dump. But hey, man, of course, Bitcoin just, hey, you know what? They're printing so much money that nothing matters anymore. And maybe there are people out there that have a ton of money and think that maybe Bitcoin might be a play. And so therefore that ascending triangle plays out and then XRP just runs up to the top of this wedge again. But if we're just talking about technicals, we're talking about not having so much context of how insane the world is now. You think lower prices would be next for these altcoins and maybe Bitcoin. Time to get emotional. Yes, all the re's in the chat. So how are y'all doing? Did you do anything productive today on a Sunday at all? Did you lift the remote control of your Apple TV? Do some reps, man? NASDAQ almost got to the 618 retrace. It would be because, not just because of Microsoft, you would think Amazon too, and Apple, or yeah, Apple a little bit. Those have outperformed all of them, so you can imagine NASDAQ, how that would affect it positively. NASDAQ's the best performer of the big four, right? Where you got the S&P, you got the Dow Jones, NASDAQ, Russell 2000. Russell 2000, of course, is always the worst performer, and that's been the case this time too. But we know about one third of the Russell 2000 stocks don't even make money, so Jimmy Jans was lazy AF today. Understandable. Guess this is the one day where I'll allow it. Renee's vacuuming, dusting. Good stuff. 75 push-ups for Killy. 18,000 steps and lifting weights for Midnight Synergy. Fantastic. Mike D's fitness journey. Played some VR. Hey, if you're going to game, that's the way to do it. VR, right? I guess that gives you a little exercise. What's up, Crypto Trend? Crypto Steve. Trying to get rid of a hangover. That's okay, man. These are, look, sometimes the best ways to do it, even if it's mild, is to go out and be active. That's exactly what I did. I was not feeling the best. I was okay, you know, after y'all wrecked me so hard Friday night. Decided to go on a multi-mile walk in my state park, and it was extremely cathartic. And of course, you know, just I'm able to go out and think, man. Listen to Skyrim atmospheres, walking through the meadows. It's nothing like it, man. Recession indicators making chilly. Sounds good. Jeff went 5 miles on his bike. Heath is doing yard work. I need to do that, but I just have very little motivation to do yard work. I don't know, man. I used to. But oh, how things have changed. Running's better than walking? I mean, like, sure, but if you're talking about like a prolonged walk uphill with like roots and you're, you know, I don't know, man, you're always walking up or down, decline or incline. You need plenty of exercise. You don't have to run. So 67, 69, just for a second. The volatility, at least in, you know, if you're scaled in, it's pretty nuts on Bitcoin. I mean, the past 5 seconds, but whatever. Just ready for a move to happen, man. Like a real move, not this Rudy Poo stuff. Like, if we want to go back to our just textbook amazing asset that is so good, that rising wedge is being so well respected. Monero, it's in log scale, I understand, but man, talk about getting towards the end of the road for this wedge. The maturation of it is here. It's done. I mean, it's like, yeah, you got a chance to run up again and test $58. Look, that's like from the high to low, that's the golden retrace. So it's very possible you come up there. Look, that's the resistance back from January 2020 this year. I was like, it won't matter. Like, that all can happen, but when Sauron beckons the Nazgul, they will come. Monera being one of the Nazgul dudes. You know, Lord of the Rings nerd reference.
Bruh.
Oh, I thought, Herbert, that Boris Johnson said he was doing it only as a precaution. Of course, they're only going to say that to not incite riots or fear. I mean, it's just like, what do you think, man? You probably want them to not die, so who cares what the reason is, you know, but I'm glad he's seeking medical help if he truly does have coronavirus. How old is Boris Johnson, man? He's probably at the age where he has a higher susceptibility of mortality, especially if he's not, if some of his immune system is compromised. TJ did 40 minutes of strength training. Free weight basement set. A free weight set in his basement. Well, you know, you can't really call it technically an investment because that isn't gonna make you money back, but it's a great expense. And yeah, of course, you could try your best to come up with a way of saying, no, man, because I invested in a weight set, so I won't have future medical bills. That's like a benefit. It's still an expense, man, right? A lot of people use the word investment erroneously. I'm not saying like you are exactly. I just sometimes people, you know, you'll be talking to someone, they'll be like, "It's the best investment, man. These sunglasses, best investment I ever made," or something. It's like, dude, those are sunglasses. They don't make you money back. But dude, you don't understand. It will prevent me from getting, you know, cataracts or something. That's a benefit of the expense. Okay, so anyway, I'm just talking, man. Though I did exercise, you know, got some stuff done today. Still kind of losing it a little bit. Like everyone else. Isolation Connect. Well, there you go. He's a personal trainer and trains people online. Well, there you go. That actually might be a way to say if you're using the weights in an actual online video for your, you know, your clients, that's a true investment. Yeah. Sure. Nice one, dudes. Come on, Mitch. What will you be doing with Bitcoin? What are you talking about, man? I don't have the best edge right now, so I don't feel the most comfortable. Like, dude, it's like there are arguments on both sides. Like, clear, concise arguments for both. I mean, on one hand, you had a 38. I mean, you crashed down to 3,800. You had it was like 35% crash. I mean, you lost half your value in a month or something or more. We're talking about the major high to low on Bitcoin. So I think we're in a reflexive rally. And I do understand that the reflexive rally could continue on because I know Fibonacci and where common retrace areas are. And we're just in the dead middle. Hold up. So it's like, I think this could continue on. This is where it could rally to 8,000 area. Yes, of course. But at the same time, this is also an area where it could reverse majorly to the downside. So when I have like, it's like I'm not getting much of an edge with the oscillators. So I'm just, I'm okay with saying I don't have much of an edge on the market. And I think there are cases for both sides. But I do know that we are in a downtrend, a major long-term downtrend that goes back to summer of last year. June 26, 2019 was the beginning of it. So that leads me to believe at any point the selling could come in because it's like you crashed, you're getting that rally up, and I think we could get another major wave down to double bottom to test the lows or make lower lows or slightly higher lows before we run again to the upsides. But it just hasn't happened yet. All right. It's like kind of like X to A, and we're working on A to B right now, and eventually B will top out. This wave will end, and we'll get another major wave down, from B to C, wherever that is, and then eventually we get that C to D wave that's a huge one like this one. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. God forbid I try to make the argument and case for both sides, and instead of just being a homeboy or a fanboy of, oh, it's bullish, man, for sure, it's bearish for sure. That's just, technical analysis just doesn't work that way sometimes. Sometimes it is murky, cloudy conditions. Are you talking about with the scam wick trying to draw a rising wedge? I mean, we had it like that, and then it broke out, and just it kept hitting the horizontal line support, looking left from history, and then it rallied. It's now creating something different. Like if I did the rising wedge and you're broken out, but you're rallying to the same highs again, it's kind of like not really valid. It's kind of like, why would I use it? It doesn't really help me see what's kind of going on. But what I could really see right now is, since this rally here, I can see a sell wall with accumulation and accelerated accumulation as of recent, and now we just going sideways, man, after hitting over and over and over the supply wall all weekend, man. Goodness, what a time to be alive. We got internet and we got coronas. Hello, is anyone there, chat? Are you alive? You with me? Make sure we got a pulse out there. Who knows these days? Like, this is kind of a good example of like why I don't really have it drawn as a wedge so much anymore. Ethereum, it's like the same thing. It's like I redrew Bitcoin, but I didn't really redraw Ethereum, where it's like, yeah, we had a rising wedge, man, then you broke out, and look at this. I mean, is it really a rising wedge if is it really a breakout if you're doing this? No, not really. So it's like not the way it is. Like, it's turning into something else, which you can still say, in my opinion, the way you crash like this and you're upsloping your consolidation, and it's pretty freaking methodical, though we could go up to higher prices. It does look like bearish consolidation. Am I crazy here? AMC, well, I mean, dude, I think the movie theater industry is one of those that will eventually fall apart because of what's happened. That's a new meta. What's up, Akram, Ali? Thanks for the sub, dude. Welcome. Yeah, if you're here and you're enjoying the live stream, this coverage of the futures, Bitcoin, everything, hit that like button, that bell, that sub. See if we can get a like spike, sub spike. We're 23,900 and something subs. Maybe soon we could get to 24,000 subs. Yeah, 23,918. So 82 connect. Let's get there one day soon. Look about the crash, same thing. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Yeah, talking about patterns. Look, man, you dump, you rally, you make a lower high, high to low, common retrace zone, and yeah, you dump, right? So it's just a much larger form of consolidation. Evangelios. Yeah, thank you for the sub, dude. Good to see you, man. Thank you. What's up, Philip? You're hiding behind the couch until Bitcoin plays out. Don't be scared, man. No need to be scared. Just have on your mask. What's up, Evan Green? Thank you for the sub, dude. Y'all are amazing. Don't know. I mean, it might take a week or two to get there, but soon enough we'll get it. And then it's like 6K more. The road to 30K, the most important number that exists for a YouTube live streamer, is 30,000 subs. It's not 40, it's not 20, it's not 100, it's literally 30. Where you were given the amenity of membership, where you can, it's like a Twitch sub, but it exists on YouTube, where you get to post the emotes that I upload to YouTube and all that. It's just a really cool thing that I'm not eligible for, but you know, video game streamers that have 1,000 subs have it. And then scrubs with over 30,000 subs have it too. Great. Day and night, no, I've not finished it. I only watched episode 1, never really got back around to watching the rest. I don't know, it didn't capture me. Even though I know it's probably better and good. Everything's kind of been ruined anyway, dude, everywhere. Like, so I already know, wow, the bad stuff, you know. It's like if you're just on the internet, it's gonna get ruined for you. So no, I've not used the oxygen saturation meter on Samsung Health for workouts, Heath. No, I've not. Teachers still up. Not much change since open. Do we have a mini gap, dude? I think we have a mini gap. Holy crap. Still not making higher highs. That could change soon. 25, 30. So like 14 bucks off. Testing the peak. Your previous peak. I mean, like, I wonder if we go to, like, you know, log scale or something, and we could not anchor the wick at the bottom. Dude, it still just seems like a channel to me. Alright, that's almost freaking parallel, alright? Like, look at Ethereum and log scale without the craziness. Because if you anchor, this is your first anchor. You anchor here, and you broke out. You anchor here, and you've already broken out, right? And you're back testing it. It's like, it's such a steep sell-off. It's almost like there's so much emotionalism of the sellers and buyers here that it's like null. It's almost like it might not make sense to use it. You got to wait for that normalcy, right? You can see a new valley was created. It was way less emotional. And you can see kind of how it looks in log. It's just an upsloping channel, and you're near the bottom of it. You know, not in log, whatever, right? Not in log, it's like same thing, right? You're just not using that. It's just a channel. It's upsloping consolidation after a crash. It's not even getting close to threatening your previous highs, so it doesn't look that bullish, really. So we can take a gander at gold, which is open right now. So really plotted a downsloping resistance. I think, you know, it's just geometrical now, and we're right at it. So it's like, can we break that? You're not making higher highs yet. You really do eventually need to break this downsloping resistance and break above 64.44. For, you know, if you're gonna run up and test 1700 again. You would think that it would rise eventually, but just based on, you know, what's happening in the physical gold worlds where people can't even get bullions anymore, and if you can find them to buy them, they're gonna be like $1,800+, you know, an ounce, whatever. We're sitting at 1,600, so. This is really not indicative of what's happening in the gold market. This is how the free market is trading gold right now. It's not that great. Lower highs. What difference does it make when clicking log? In linear, which is not log, Kelly, log scale measures percentage change. Linear scale measures price change. So if you ever wanted to chart Bitcoin from its inception, there's no possible way to be able to chart it in linear scale, because you went from $0 to like 20K, right? So you have to go percentage change. That's the only way. And yeah, it makes sense. Like, you use normally log scale you know, in the longer term, when there's exponential losses or gains in a period of time, right? And when you're zoomed in, you know, 4 hours and stuff like that, you normally go in with linear scale. Though you can, I mean, and it also requires creativity. You know, you got to be able to test out both and see how they look. Like Monero was more difficult in log scale, but when you go, or in linear scale, when you go to log scale, it's like perfect. It's like, this is how it has to be, right? I mean, it's gorgeous. So it takes messing around, man. Creativity, for sure. Yeah, recession indicator, that's about it. It's bad. It's real bad. Can I look at XRP? Can you get here on time, Sam Wilson? Because we already did look at XRP. Ouch. So I've been live for 46 minutes. There's still an hour and 12 minutes to go until your daily candle close. And Bitcoin's doing absolutely nothing. I mean, sure, we're getting ups and downs. I mean, you're getting swings, you know, like this weekend a couple of times we hit $7,000, if you even believe it. But there was a time when we hit $6,600. So now we're just right around 6,800. We know 6,819 is that historical overhead. Well, it's not really overhead. It's just, I mean, yes, it is. It's like historical resistance that you have been regarding and respecting like an ungodly amount. No, I don't own physical silver, dude. Ever heard of Amero? No, man. Well, where in the F is it? Someone asking me questions about, you know, it's like BNB. It also hit some sort of upsloping support, a demand line. It also, from its low point to its high point, hit a 88% retrace. And off that area with some price action, you've rallied. But to me, it just seems like the same type of stuff where it could obviously continue on up if Bitcoin does.
Mitch, can I please look at Walmart? Thank you for your screen presence.
Sure, Elliot. Thanks for the threes. But it's almost like a diamond. Holy crap. We got it. Well, almost a diamond. But with BNB, I mean, it's the same freaking scenario. You had a deep retrace, and that might be where people perceive value, and we're rallying here, and it could go much higher, but it's all on Bitcoin, right? Because now we would go from your major previous high to the low, right? Where you haven't even hit a 382 yet. You know, you think that the common retrace area before a major reversal of the downside would be somewhere between 1444 and 1931. So, I mean, obviously there's like no divergence yet. Maybe on the 4 hour, I don't know. Not really, man. It's the same old crap, dude. Same crap as Bitcoin. It's like, it certainly looks like some form of bearish consolidation. I don't know, right? Do we log scale it? Doesn't look like that helps much. I mean, how do you use this wick? You like can't, kinda, really. So we just anchor 1 and 2 here, I guess, right? It almost just looks like rally up, a wedge. No, it's like ascending broadening wedge. Bearish consolidation. You're at the 200 moving average. You're touching it for the first time since February 25th, maybe? No, March 5th. Okay, this one ran up, did it? So it's just like Bitcoin in a way. I don't know. I don't have much of an edge to say which way I think it's going next, but you can't. It's hard to argue and say it doesn't look like bearish consolidation. Good Lord, man. Walmart. Insanity. The whipsaw is real. It was a channel and you eventually broke out of it, but all up and down, man. It's crazy. It's been one of those defensive stocks. That's why it looks like that. But yeah, if you can't see, you can put 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2. And you're working on, if you sell off at all here, then you've definitely got some sort of freaking diamond pattern. Look at that. Held that support a few times, and now you're back above the 200-day moving average. You know, the macro continues on up. You know, Walmart's going to obviously rally too. So that's all-time highs on Walmart, 125 or so. Even like in the midst of the crashing, right? This month, or sorry, March, we ran up and actually made intraday all-time highs before dumping, making a higher low, and now you're rallying. So it's almost like this left shoulder head, right shoulder stuff, but this pump right here kind of screws up the neckline, right? The collaring. So that's why I'm saying it's almost starting to look more like a diamond if you don't just continue rallying here and you sell off, you pivot to the downside, then it is truly a diamond. So still outside that channel, whatever though, you know. So we just look at it like if it's range bound, you hit the bottom of the range and you're rallying, you're now approaching like the top part of the range. Gonna be tough to break that in a bear trend in a global recession, right? Would be freaking wild. This one's kind of reminds me of Amazon a little bit. Wouldn't y'all agree? Somewhat. Just a little bit. Amazon looks a lot better. That's why I say it's kind of like Amazon. Daily. You just got this range. So here's Walmart. And then here you go with Amazon, where it's like range bound. And it held this 1675 support, bounced, and is kind of on the high end of the range. But it reversed right at this peak from May 3rd, 2019. Almost a year ago. There's your Walmart, dude. You gotta say that somehow it's holding support at 104, 105. And you know there's major resistance at like 120 to 125, and above that's literally nothing, right? Crazy pattern, crazy whipsawing up and down, volatility. Whew. Chat, anyone here? Oh my god, dude, what is this song? Like, how did they even, what kind of drugs were they on to even make that? Whatever that was just playing. It's like, nah, dude. I'll pass on whatever you're taking to produce music. Jesus. Yeah, thanks 524 here. Thanks for the 500 plus lurkers. If you're out there watching, you hadn't said anything yet, why don't you say something? Remember, it's a live stream on a static video, so it's a give and take a little bit. So we got an hour and 4 minutes. Don't know if I'm going to stick around for the weekly candle close itself. I mean, you know, it's Sunday and Bitcoin's not doing anything, so people don't care as much. So it's like lack of demand. Huh. How'd you know, dude? So nerd 2188. Do I ski? I water ski. I've never actually snow skied, but I would love to. I thought I was gonna do it maybe this year. Definitely gonna do it next year. Snowboard. But yeah, water skiing, water slaloming. Yeah, sure. No, Paul, I do not. It's so hard to find me live. Yep, shadow banned one day, not shadow banned the other. It happens, man. It's, you know, it's another weird thing that happens. I get all these dislikes, and then when the video gets done processing, all the dislikes disappear. Like, I had like 40 dislikes on stream yesterday, and now I've like ended up with like 16 or 12. I think like 12 dislikes. It's so weird. Something weird is going on, man. I don't know what it is. But it's like every time I get an increased amount of dislikes and they disappear. Did I ever mine crypto? A little bit of CPU mining of Monero back in the day. But, dude, infinitesimally mined. Okay? Oh, I'm sure there are a lot of people still mining, man. I'm sure, dude. Could be in people's best interest. Because that means like the people that are mining understand that prices will recover, or they think they will recover in time. And they will be in the green again, right? I mean, it's kind of like you're... I don't know, man. Like, you're posting a rising wedge, but it's kind of like the trend lines are it's very erroneous. Like, you're anchoring. Like, why is the line here? The line should be here if you're going to anchor from there. But then again, it's like you're not using the wick or this wick. And I don't even know what this is. You aren't even you're not using a candle close nor a wick as the second anchor point, nor here. Are you starting here? See, like, you're not anchoring properly, I don't think, to call it a wedge. There's nothing here. And you know, maybe this is okay. Sure, all right. But we have that already. We already have that plotted and the ascending triangle type stuff, IMO. But yeah, I don't like it, but it doesn't mean that it's not a dude. Your ascending triangle doesn't have to break out bullishly. Just because this is here doesn't mean that it can't sell off and break to the downside. So ascending triangles are inherently bullish, and there's like higher probabilities that they would play out to the upside. But it doesn't mean like if you're in a bear trend, an ascending triangle doesn't have a percentage chance of breaking out bearishly, which they do. Somehow Bitcoin's at 68.14, about to test 68.19 again. As you've tested, I'm talking every 4-hour candle. My God, 4, 8, 12, 16. The past 16 hours, you've tested it and failed after falling back below it, and now you just tested it again, it seems like, or right at it. It's ridiculous. One thing we haven't done is looked at Bitcoin on the daily. Or to me, it just looks like we're in a bearish consolidation in a downtrend, a long-term downtrend. Trump is live, in before, shadow banned. Oh wait, already am. Can you check out Regen? Fishhead, you're having withdrawals from what? What are you having withdrawals from? Beautiful textbook bearish reversal patterns. Yeah, dude, me too. A little bit. Always am. Yeah, Adam Anderson. I mean, it's just you know, and really, like, people want to anchor and try to use these trend lines. It doesn't make sense. The way I think about it is, like, if you're going to anchor on the top side, it better be after the bottom was in, right? So, like, the first anchor that would be valid, I think, is this one right here, right? This little peak, because it happened after the bottom. So using anything before that, before this bottom, is completely erroneous in my opinion, because it's part of the impulse down, and that completely defeats the purpose of a consolidation pattern that happens after the impulse. You can't anchor, you know, a wick that's happening in the midst of the impulse down, right? The pause in the trend is the pattern in development, right?
Bruh.
You're not showing your charts, not getting wrecked. I mean, whatever. I'm not trying to wreck people. But I mean, what do you want? You know, people want to post their charts like that. I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings at all. But I would prefer you don't get wrecked by plotting, you know, erroneous trend lines. Or the trend lines anchor points are erroneous, right? Possible falling wedge in Bitcoin? No, not at all. We had a falling wedge. Do you not remember? That called a target on it, had a tweet about it, like January 15th or something. Let's see. Did I get rid of it? Probably did. Dang. And the falling wedge already played out, dude. Hate to be that guy, but it's real life. Look only hits already. Oh yeah, I forgot. Let me do it. Look only hits. Oh my god, man. Weather channel. What? But like, what would you even be saying? How could this be a wedge? A falling wedge? It can't be. The wedge already played out, man. This was the rally breakout. You hit a 50% retrace like the Jesus, man. That's like the common profit taking level for a falling wedge breakout. It happened, man. That's Veggie. Oh my god, I'm the channel. Let's go.
Is that a joint?
Bruh.
Thank you, Ash, for joining. Good to see you. Wow, that's believe that. Well, yeah, that puts us at 175 patrons strong now. It's the 5th of the month, 5th best day to join the Patreon. You care about investing in yourself, and you want to learn how to read charts. You want to learn how to plot anchor points on trend lines. You want to know how to regard divergence, signify the difference between hidden divergence and classic divergence, what convergence is, right? Springs, back tests of springs, up thrusts. You want to learn about all that stuff? You're stuck at home. Best way to do that, and the best way to support the stream, is joining the Patreon. So thank you, Ash. Seriously. So it was kind of interesting. I think on other exchanges besides Coinbase, you had like this high. It was like a higher wick, so it almost was like a wedge in itself. So it wasn't. See that? Like on Coinbase, this is exactly like perfect. So you could have like on these been like, okay, it's slightly upsloping, therefore wedge-ish. But now you've got this wick. So what happens if you just use this wick now? Maybe we get the 4 hour for it. That's the 3 hour. Hold on, 4 hour. You notice that slightly higher high? Right, like that. All of a sudden, it's not an ascending triangle. It's just a wedge. So there you go, right? That's kind of wedgy a little bit. Even look, you hit that, then you back tested it as resistance, and you've been well below that ever since, right? We know what you're doing, Bitcoin. Anyone else who's not looking in the past, a link to the past, they don't really know what Bitcoin's doing, what kind of trend line or what kind of resistance support it's hitting. It's so critical, and it's this huge battle going on between bulls and bears at that level. But if you just look at it like this, without any historical context, okay, yeah, maybe this is your rising wedge, right? That you had before the wick, but then you get that back test that kind of strengthens the argument that this is still kind of valid. Right, so that's a way to get a wedge. But from down here, it's kind of tough to say, because like we had a breakout here, but it's just continued on. It's morphing into something else. Okay. Dead in the chat. Of course, dude. What is this, man? 1 minute or one message per minute or two. You know how that goes, man. That's normally my cue. What is a dragon formation? There's an educational video on it in the Patreon. There's like an educational video on almost every pattern that exists, for real. That explains it, what the criteria is for the pattern, all that, man. So, yeah, sagging potato. Sure, dude. I don't know if that's worth showing, Fishhead, but thank you, man. So just a whole bunch of sideways that you know that eventually this is gonna end. This sideways flirtatious crap, where it's clear that the bears and the bulls are fighting, and one side will relent soon, where we get a huge impulse candle that will be to the upside or the downside soon. Please understand that, all right? That's one thing we do know. This crap will end. And you'll be like, oh my God, the volatility is finally back on Bitcoin. That's insane. 1,000 viewers, right? When I'm streaming it, that will happen soon. But again, to the extent of which way it goes, we have arguments on both sides. Yep, stock market futures up significantly. Well, I mean, continuing to climb a little bit. Not so much since that first impulse. Been consolidating most of the stream. Still above that 25-30 peak from Friday, but climbing. So that's great. Jesus, dude. I don't even know how I muted myself. Sorry. Whatever. Don't worry about it. What was the last thing I said? Awesome. So your volatility is continuing to fall. Just hit session lows, like right now. It's at it. And oil is down tremendously. It was down 8.9%. You got S&P up 1.58%. So 68.06. I think you heard me when I said this stuff will end soon. This sideways crap will break. We will have a huge impulse candle to the upside or downside soon. And I'm not talking about scam wicks. I'm talking about there's going to be a candle that is going to be huge and it's going to close like a large red or green candle. So 47 minutes till your weekly candle close. Let's just look at it real quick. I mean, 3 weeks of green, still below 68.19, which is very critical because on the weekly above, think about getting a weekly candle close above 68.19 could be great because based on the weekly, if you get candle closes above that area, it is very likely you would see 7,400. We know that is not, and you got, look, you got this classic bullish divergence that is in development right now on Bitcoin. You know it's real. So we know there is a chance you could see our prices. We know because of the way the channel looks that there's upside potential. We know based on Fibonacci there's upside potential in the weekly. MACD histogram shows us there is potential for more upside. But then again, at the same time, we know about wave analysis where you do XA, AB, eventually B to C, and then C to D. All right. How come we can't say which direction? Because there are a lot of mixed variables. I mean, I'm seeing an actual textbook ascending triangle, a gorgeous looking ascending triangle right here. But at the same time, we're looking at Wyckoff distribution, and I'm kind of leaning towards Wyckoff distribution, but I could certainly be wrong. Imagine calling me a snob when I say I'm okay with not knowing, right? Some loser actually did that a few minutes ago.
Do you think since we have been consolidation towards the top, we have a greater chance of breaking to the upside?
We could, man. We very well could, but that's like kind of the textbook distribution stuff, Wyckoff distribution, where you keep testing, failing, and it gives the bulls, it's like a bull trap, where you see the ascending triangle, right? And it's just like, why in the world do we keep failing so many times? Giving bulls it's giving market participants the false belief that it's going one way, when in fact it's setting up for the other way. I mean, dude, do we need to read, right? Phase, see what it is again? Remember, and again, this could be wrong. Nothing's certain on these markets, only probable. There's only probabilities here. But phase C's, also that bull trap. It appears to signal the resumption of the uptrend. The trend is moving up, and we've been looking at this on the 4-hour, not the daily, so it's not as significant. But in reality, it's intended, this price action here, at the top, it's intended to wrong foot uninformed breakout traders. So the upthrust, the multiple upthrusts after the distribution allows large interests to mislead the public about the future trend direction and subsequently sell additional shares at elevated prices to such breakout traders. Well, dang, if they're not selling at higher prices, are they not? And then it's coming right back down before the markdown begins. The markdown has not really begun yet. That's why you're still kind of, it seems like if Wyckoff was valid, you'd still be in phase C, where it's like this fake out period to make people think, oh, we're gonna be going higher, man. But you got to remember the context of the trend is super duper bearish. And we've already hit a halfway mark, even though we understand, dude. Like, this is why I say, why can we not put our finger on it? Because you know what the common retrace zone is. It's in between the 382 and the 618. You never even got up here. So if the ascending triangle broke to the upside, those would be targets up there. So, God forbid, I try to give arguments on both sides a little bit, right? That's crazy, isn't it? What would invalidate Wyckoff? Breaking the crap out of 7K with resounding volume and an impulse candle up to 7,400, and then it not effing scamming down. That's what would pretty much invalidate Wyckoff distribution, and which would validate the ascending triangle argument. Dead in the chat. Okay. Well, that's it for me, man. Thank you all for coming out, watching. The weekly candle close in 42 minutes. I hope you have a good Sunday. I'm going to enjoy the rest of mine. So I'll just be back. I don't know if I'll be back maybe in the morning. We'll see. But thanks for the likes, love, support. Ash, thank you for joining the Patreon. I'll see y'all next time. Until then, respect the TA.